Hey guys, and welcome back to another What If Here. Today we are doing part 2 to What If Naruto got a second chance, but as a girl. And well, if you wanna know what happened in part 1, the last part, the link will be in the description down below to a playlist, or if you watch all the way through, there would be at the end screens there will be a card thingy there that you can click and it will take you to said playlist as well. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into this. So, years had gone by as Naruto had grown up to now being 12 years old, and currently she was somewhat waiting for Iruka to announce the teams. Of course, and she'd somewhat be reflecting on what it changed. She'd of course remember her past life, her metal self, and would remember that she'd remember. She'd somewhat, or at least a day that would be kind of more ingrained, would be when she was around. When she was around 5 years old, she decided to go to Hiruzen and ask if she could train in Kenjutsu, or the art of the sword, as that was besides from Genjutsu, the art of illusion, which he was absolutely rubbish at, and she still very much would be the amount of chakra. She would pretty much need perfect chakra control to do pretty much even the more expensive chakra needing genjutsus. It just needed too much chakra control. So though the other one he never learnt was Kenjutsu, the art of the sword, which she decided in this timeline she would try and learn it. And Hiruzen had thought about it for a good minute and would then somewhat look at him and go, once you reach 6, I guess I can find you. So, why when I'm 6 though, Gigi? Well, when you're 6, you'll enter the academy, and because you'll be in the academy, I can say in a way give you an instructor, a personal instructor in Kenjutsu, the art of the sword. And a year later, she she's still somewhat 5 years old, though she had entered the academy. And just like Hiruzen had promised, more so on her birthday, a day or two after her birthday, Hiruzen had called her in, and Hiruzen had introduced her to her Kenjutsu instructor, which was Yugao, or aka Cat, or Arnbu, codenamed Cat. And I was told that this will be your Kenjutsu instructor up until Cat slash Yugao sees you fit, that she can no longer say train you, that she's taught you everything that you somewhat need to know. And and Hiruzen had also somewhat and though the reason, although would also give her a scroll, which would be a scroll, from Kushina. From Kushina, and that would be her sword. Kushina passed down the sword as Kushina was a Kenjutsu user, a user of the sword, the more precise sword actually used was a katana. And Kushina somewhat always, either used a katana or a kunai. If she didn't have a blade, she had a kunai in her hand, and obviously Kushina was generally somewhat flat-chested all the way up until her late teens to young adult life. So around 18, 19, of course, her breasts rapidly developed, and she somewhat was always in the mentality of kind of hit them fast and hard. So when she grew breasts, she somewhat found them annoying, but she quickly realised that she could hit the enemy even harder and faster, as there were somewhat no bones in, obviously, the breasts, as they were completely squishy. As such, they would somewhat in her mind be the somewhat best form of kind of a cushion, as any attack that she could come in hard and fast with either kunai or her sword in such a way that if the blade, once the blade hit and she'd stop, that her obviously hand or arms would go, her bow would still be going forward, and as such could somewhat even crack or even break like the bone in the chest. I can't think, not the say the ribs and that. So breast being that would act as somewhat a shock absorber or an airbag shock absorber, something like that, and as such would slow down on the impact before it hit hit her chest, and as such Krishna did fly through a load of bras and that, as they would somewhat from just the constant stress and that would tear and rip and that from her somewhat style of hit them hard and fast. And some Kunoichi would use that as a last ditch kind of effort to hit them harder, but it's generally not recommended by them, as they would generally afterwards have to get new bras, as they would be ripped or torn from the kind of forces of impact and the stresses they'd put on the somewhat fabric. So anyway. And she'd remember all the times all the sparring and that her and Yugo took, and she'd somewhat besides unsheathing the blade once to have a proper look at it, she hadn't unsheathed it since that time, though because she was mainly her and Yugo, when they'd spar, that they would use wooden swords, and as she got more comfortable and a lot better, Yugo changed it from somewhat just a wooden sword or at least both of them wielding wooden swords, to wielding somewhat like just kind of metal, kind of like training swords. So instead of being made out of wood, they'd be made out of metal, but still blunt. Then from there, because you guys, Husen had told Yugo that the sword was a katana that Kushina used, and then moved Naruto on to using a katana, a blunt katana, and then though obviously each and every katana had a different weight. Each and every sword had a somewhat different weight, so, and especially obviously knowing that, because it was used by Kushina, and knowing me and Kushina were both very much still experts, could have put light kind of like say anti-gravity seals to make the sword that much lighter, which would mean that Kushina could move that much faster, and obviously reinforcement seals so that it wouldn't break easily. So it wouldn't break easily, it'd be lighter than what it should be, and which would just mean that Kushina could very much hit the people that much faster without having to worry about the sword just simply shattering on impact. And she'd somewhat finally snap out of her kind of just remembrance, as she'd hear Team 6 being called. Team 6 is, Iruka calling Team 6, as she'd somewhat blink and go, I didn't think I was out for that long. So someone just shrug from a thought, someone just look out the window and would think, not long now, Kuruma, not long now until I'll finally be able to talk to you once again, my friend. She'd then hear Team 7 as she'd pay attention, as she's curious, would she be part of this Team 7, or would Team 7 be a completely different make now, as instead of being at the bottom like he was in his original timeline, now she was in the middle of a classroom, somewhat like Shikamaru. So instead of being the best, which would mean just the best kunoichi of the year, which funnily enough, she's somewhat 1 or 2 points off being the best kunoichi of the year. So she didn't really want to be the best kunoichi of the year, because otherwise, it could obviously go to her head. And she somewhat didn't want to seem like a show off. And anyway, so Iruka would go. Team 7 will consist of Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto. Somewhat just Hosai. It's windy. Anyway, we'd let out somewhat a sigh of annoyance, as Sakura would somewhat jump up and would yell out, "Beat that, pig, true love prevails." Is rude somewhat think, and I have to put up with the bane of all kunoichi, of all true kunoichi fangirls. She just had an annoying sigh, and Shikamaru would go, well, hey, at least you're with Sasuke, right? Because all all the girls seemed to, as they then somewhat stopped saying what he was, as he'd somewhat find kunai at his neck, as she'd someone look at him and continue what you're saying, and you find yourself headless. He'd somewhat just go and go, I didn't mean nothing but by it. So then retract the kunai, and well, yeah, and I forgot his name. I know I just said his name not too long ago, probably a couple of seconds ago. Anyway, Iruka. Iruka had somewhat continuing like that, never really happened, as it was somewhat of a normalish sight. As well, the only reason why somewhat Shikamo say that is, yeah, there was only 2 girls in class that didn't like Sasuke. Well, not didn't like him, but weren't fangirls of Sasuke, which was Hinata Hyuga, and obviously Naruto, well, Uzumaki Naruto or Naruto Uzumaki. Yeah. And anyway, yeah, it's not that she didn't like him, she somewhat didn't like him, more so just didn't like him, hated him, almost type deal, as well, this now obviously somewhat reliving this life, though this time as a girl, somewhat saw him even more as an arrogant as they show off, and well, yeah. Whereas the other girls thought he was so cool and mystery. For her, she felt even more that he was even more of a show off and somebody person that wanted all the attention. And, well, yeah, she could somewhat care less. And well, yes, Sasuke appreciated that she didn't care really anything about him, and as such, he'd once tried asking her out, though he'd gotten pretty much very, very harshly shut down, which had caused them to argue with her, which had then somewhat caused him to say something which, had then shot up into 9 segmented, tails, though, like pretty much 9 tails her was, and somewhat stepped back a bit as a reddish aura went around her, as he was somewhat violently beaten up. And so that day he'd spent a week in the hospital, which had taught him the lesson to, or somewhat should have taught him the lesson to not anger one Uzumaki Naruto. But did he listen? Did he somewhat listen from that beating? No, though he didn't bother asking her out anymore, but he didn't stop trying to anger her. And almost all men seen that had almost decided that it wasn't worth risking their own life. So anyway, we could continue to call out Team 8 and 10, which would of course be the same teams like in canon. Team 8 consisting of Hinata, I've got his name. Hinata, the Dog Boy and Bug Boy, and Team 10 being the Ino Shikucho trio, or Ino, Shikamo and Choji. So So pretty much Team 7 was one of 3 teams that had, one of 2 teams that had 2 girls. Which, for Konoha was somewhat rare as, having at least a team with 2 girls on it was somewhat, was rare in Konoha, and having 2 teams of 2 girls were, very rare. In Konoha for a Gani team, for like Chunin, Jonin, Anbu, it was a lot more common as your teams were just somewhat thrown together, which were kind of what 3 say best were the best for the mission, and there'd be obviously girls, boys, so you could very much end up being on their team with 3 girls, or being 2 girls and a single boy, or whatever. Yeah. Anyway. And, you could obviously tell them that they'd have an hour break before coming back. And so once he'd dismissed them all, she'd gotten up and somewhat left, and she'd somewhat spot what's his name, Konohamaru. She'd go, hey there, Konohamaru'd somewhat park up and return and go, hey there, big sis Naruto. What are you doing? I thought you were finding out your team today. I am, and we've got an hour break before I have to go. I've got an hour break before I have to go back to find out who my sensei is. Though I've got an inkling to who he may be. Oh, you think your sensei's a boy? Yep, and and if I'm right, that person is probably the most laziest sensei of them all. Oh, really? Yep. For an odd reason, I had a dream of my sensei being, say, like a cyclops that loved reading books and was like 3 hours late to almost everything. Come on, go, that's an odd dream. I know, right? But it felt so real, like it would really happen, but who knows, maybe it will or won't. Of course, she never had that dream. She was remembering her past life experience on Team 7 and knowing she'd probably have Kakashi as her team leader. As Susan somewhat told, because Susan's reasoning was because Kakashi had the Sharingan, Sasuke could have the potential to awaken Sharingan and to somehow calm Naruto down if he were to ever lose control of the 9-tailed fox, which Kakashi couldn't. You'd have to have either another Uzumaki to have the Uzumaki change, or a Mokuton user would release user, which was also probably non-existent. So Kakashi would pretty much just be there watching in horror as he would decimate people. So it was more so like a fake reason, which anyway, she was more so in there and kind of, obviously she knew why she was there in her past life. Why? Because he truly was just the dead last, though that was because nobody bothered training him. Now in this timeline, she, well, besides on being a now having a teacher in Kenjutsu, somewhat just went through her own somewhat training, which was mainly getting her chakra control back down to what it was, which was once she'd gained access to her chakra, which was around the age of 8, well, 7, around 7, 8 years old, she'd then after that she'd then done leaf sticking exercise, leaf floating exercise, tree walking, water walking. After she'd done that, then she'd pretty much done the somewhat water balloon exercise, or the first of 3 levels of the Rasengan, which was obviously to pop a water balloon with just chakra, then to pop a rubber balloon that obviously would be like chakra control exercise, a much more extreme chakra exercise, but still, yeah. And she knew she would have to get that down near pretty much perfect to be able to do the Rasen Shuriken, and she knew to be able to use that she'd need a summoning contract, which she didn't have, and that summoning contract would have to be able to, say, use nature energy, which obviously, because she didn't have a summoning contract, that one was somewhat null, so she still could use the Rasen Shuriken, but the nature energy was generally used as a way to, add a somewhat kind of slightly, say, miniature shield around it, which would prevent, any backlash to said user. Because his original lifetime, Tsunade banned him from using it unless he could find a way to, kind of drastically minimize the damage done to said user, or straight up get rid of the side effect altogether. Naruto did somewhat learn how to somewhat work around that, which also meant that, due to the somewhat small amount of nature energy that would be in it, which would stop the side effect, also allowed him to finally throw it, as instead of the wind somewhat of going out, which meant he had to actively channel chakra into it to keep it going. This time, obviously, with the nature energy somewhat in it to keep it all together, not only had to channel nature energy into it to keep the Rasen Shuriken running, and once it was thrown, once all the nature energy was gone, the Rasen Shuriken would just explode, causing a massive explosion that we have seen in canon. So yeah, anyway, and she obviously managed to master the Rasengan, and not really having nothing more, because she'd like be able to do it with 2 hands instead of an extra clone and 3 hands. She had managed to minus 1 clone and 1 hand to using just both her hands, and as such she'd just got it all the way down to being able to make it just in her hand, and had sped up, and she decided to learn how to get it to do it faster and faster and faster and faster, to the point where she could make it now pretty much instantly. Just a kind of flick of the wrist and a Rasengan would be formed. Though she'd obviously keep it under wraps for quite some time because, well, she didn't want obviously nobody knowing that she already knew the Rasengan because nobody had shown it to her, and up until, say, Parvy Sage would show her the Rasengan for the first time, she could just proclaim, she could somewhat say fake struggling with the water balloon exercise and that. But yeah, she knew she somewhat had to be careful to that, though with mainly the Rasengan and with the Rasen Shuriken. And yeah, she of course knew that she had to work with her wind release, though she asked Huzen if there was any tests she could do to find out if her kind of her elemental, say, nature affinity, which while the academy somewhat was going through the different nature affinities, Huzen had run over his head and somewhat shrugged that it wouldn't do no harm for her knowing her nature affinity, which, surprising to her, wasn't just wind but was also water. She was somewhat confused why she had water, though Huzen had somewhat amused and had guessed that the water had come from her mother's side, with the wind possibly coming from her father. And then it somewhat hit her, she was more Uzumaki in this timeline, and as such she had guessed obviously as such her wind would probably be less stronger, which it surprisingly wasn't. It's still same stronger, but the water was there and was a lot stronger though than the wind, which Huzen had which was somewhat obvious with the entire, it wasn't that the entire pit was damp, she had just water in her hand, water was just pouring out of her hand the second she channeled chakra into it. So yeah, she just channeled water into it and water just poured from her hand. Which, that was an interesting thing. Anyway, she'd somewhat just speak with Kanahamaru somewhat beg her to teach him a core jutsu, as she'd somewhat look at and go, well, aren't you still trying to master my sexy jutsu? Yeah, but come on, boss, please, big sis, can't you teach me something else as well? Nope, Kanamaru, until you can get that down without using any hand signs whatsoever, you'll be learning that. But being able to do a transformation, even by sexy jutsu transformation, without doing any hand signs, will be very useful, as say what happens if your hands are, say, tied and you can't, say, use any jutsus. You won't be able to use your hands, and thus, you wouldn't be able to, say, transform into, say, something that could could have, say, maybe smaller hands, or maybe not even have hands at all, like a animal or that, and as such. And kind of somewhat just sighed dejectedly, but with somewhat understand where his big sis was going with it, and would go, fine, I'll continue to. And yeah, they'd somewhat just wander off into a somewhat one of the somewhat a small training ground, more so used for kind of like just training ground one. And after going there, she'd somewhat kind of go, well then, Kanahamaru, let's see how you got. And so for the better part of around half an hour, 40 minutes or so, Kanahamaru, she'd spend that time with Kanahamaru would constantly go through the hand signs to perform the jutsu, and she'd say, after performing it once, she'd remind Kanahamaru to remember the feeling that he would feel within himself when he performs the jutsu, and then with that feeling, try and remember that feeling and do it with one less hand sign. Produce the same feeling, but with one less hand sign. And with that in mind, he'd take him a good, say, 15-20 minutes before he'd minus only one hand sign, and with that he'd do it again and again and again and again, and by the time she'd told Kanahamaru to stop, Kanahamaru had gotten down to, I'd gotten rid of 2 hand signs, 2 of the needed 5 hand signs for the transformation for a sexy jutsu. And anyway, she didn't go, you must be hungry, and I know I am, so let's head off and go to Ichiraku Ramen for some ramen. Kind of somewhat nod, as his own belly would somewhat grumble. And they would walk off to said place and would have lunch. And after that, she'd somewhat wave goodbye to Kanahamaru as they would go separately, as she'd then head to the roof of the school and somewhat lay there on the roof, somewhat comfortably looking up and out just up and up off into the sky. Some time would go by as she'd forget to even go back down back to her classroom, as she'd somewhat just stay up there, as she'd then she'd feel a second presence, as she'd somewhat bolt up, as the leaves would appear and would start swirling, as then Kakashi would then appear, as he'd go, yo, as she'd go, hi, Kakashi would somewhat look up at the sky and go, I'm only an hour and a half. Like, I guess I can wait here for another, say, hour and a half and keep reading my book. He was somewhat thinking, though, when the second he'd sensing that, and he was just staring back at, Naruto, who he could sworn who he'd sworn he'd seen Kushina right then and there before she'd said hi. Yeah, Cash should then somewhat shake his hand and go, are you by any chance a member of Team 7? She'd just somewhat nod her head slightly, going, yeah, so are you asked Sensei, somewhat nod that I am. She'd just go, alright. She'd then someone go, well, okay then, and then someone go back to just looking up into the sky. So you'd not go, so you're not going to go down and tell them? Why should I? It's your job to, you're a sensei. And plus, they're a ninja. After all, if they're too lazy to somewhat even bother try looking for me, then what's the point of passing a team that doesn't care about? If those two don't show any concern about, well, they're missing preferred member, eh? Cassie would somewhat think back for a second and go, I guess you have a point there. But then most gaming teams don't exactly have trust immediately. So you go, guess you're right there. And yeah, guys, that's where I'm going to end it here. So if you have enjoyed this part, tell me in the comments down below. And yeah, hope you have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are, where you live, and whatever time you're watching this. Well, yeah, I don't really know what I mean. So anyway, good. Bye. No, I'm too tired. Good. Bye.